Hello, everyone. Happy Disability Pride Month. My name is Nico Meyering. I use he, him pronouns. I am a white man with blonde hair, kind of sloping over one eyelid. I'm wearing a dark shirt and I'm seated in front of a purple background. I am honored to be joined today by my friend, James Geiger. James, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm James. I have headphones on, a black t-shirt, and a blue background that's colorful.
The background is colorful. Excellent. So James, what does disability pride mean to you?
Disability pride is an interesting concept. I've never heard of the concept until this year, actually.
Really?
I never knew we had a disability pride month. So that's interesting. So when I started thinking about it, at first I'm like, that's an oxymoron. How can you be disabled and be prideful?
Mhm.
Because I struggle with that a lot, as you know.
Yes.
But I have come to learn that it's about celebrating us as a whole, as a collective. Celebrating our existence and acknowledging that we're a segment of the population that needs to be recognized. And I am gay, and we have a month because we often feel segregated. It's kind of the same concept in my mind for the disability community. We're often ostracized, so Disability Pride Month is the way to celebrate our existence and to acknowledge that, yes, we are important.
We are important. Thank you for pointing that out, James. 1 in 4 US adults lives with a disability. So since we're 25% of the adult population, every issue is a disability issue. I was speaking with Steve Williams yesterday, and he is also gay, and he said, I'm gay and I'm disabled, so I have basically 2 Pride months. So it's nice that they come right in a row. James, what is one thing you want non-disabled people to know about disability life?
That we aren't inspiration porn.
Okay.
We are not inspiration porn. We're just people living our lives. We're not trying to be inspirational. We're not super. We're not anything extra. We're just people trying to live the same life as you. So please don't place us on that pedestal.
That's valid. This is something that I've also struggled with because I was raised to really value like hard work and success, and to judge my own self-worth by my academic accomplishments and then later on by my professional accomplishments. So I've had to be very clear as an adult that it is cool that I've done all these things and maybe they're worthy of some praise and merit, but it's because I've achieved those things, not because I'm a disabled person achieving those things.
I just hate when people say, "Oh, James, you're amazing, you're super, you're all these terms," when 9 times out of 10, every other person has done those same things.
Mhm.
So why does that make me special? Is it because I'm disabled? No, cut that crap. We are humans living the human experience like everyone else. We are not inspiration porn.
Thank you, James. Yes, we are all human, just like everyone else. What are some lessons that being disabled has taught you?
I definitely look at life a different way. I look at it because I had to grow up very quickly. I'm an only child,
Mhm.
so I never had any kids when I was always on adults. Being in the military and moving around so much, I just had to grow up very quickly, and that painted my view of the world in a different way.
Mhm.
I was much more mature than any other people. And tie that with being disabled, you get to see people's true colors
Mhm.
because people treat you differently and you see that. And it just tells you that I don't know how I'm going with that into. But you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it really strikes a chord with me too. I'm not an only child, but there's 7 years between my younger sister and myself. So I definitely remember being an only child and always connecting better with adults than with kids my own age. And when my parents would try to give me like tips on how to handle people or tips on how to feel comfortable with myself, they were always tips that meant I was more comfortable interacting with adults rather than my peers. So,
Mhm.
for example, when my parents would urge me to like be unique and be myself and be, confident in my uniqueness, that's wonderful advice for a teenager or for an adult. But there comes a stage when you're developing as a kid where it's natural to want to be just like everybody else. That's a
Mhm.
logical stage in your development. uh, and that's why, for example, when you're in kindergarten and you say, oh, I have to go to the bathroom, suddenly all your other classmates have to go to the bathroom, right? There's a very communal mindset.
Mhm.
So I really resonate and echo those sensations of feeling sometimes lonely, sometimes feeling alone, and then also sometimes feeling older than your years.
Mhm.
It's a really weird sensation to be kind of out of lockstep with the rest of the world, or at least to feel that unique sense of isolation and individualism.
When I quick story, when I was 12 years old, we
Mhm.
moved down here to Florida. And my mom enrolled me in a YMCA camp.
Mhm.
It wasn't two weeks after I started the YMCA camp, I got called into the director's office. I was scared to death. She's like, James, you have nothing to worry about. We just see you have amazing leadership abilities at 12 years old. And we want to offer you to become a camper in leadership training. So I got to be my counselor's right hand man. And ever since then, I just have felt the responsibility to be a leader, to be a step ahead of everyone else, both in my knowledge and my leadership style, because ever since 12 years old, people have always looked up to me.
That's very valid. It's a very, how do I want to say this? It can definitely be an honor to help lead groups or to help make a space where you and your people feel comfortable and accepted, but it's also a huge responsibility.
Yes.
And especially if, you're a kid and someone like an adult tells you that you're so promising, you have all these wonderful qualities, you start to maybe internalize this thought that, oh, I've got to work hard, I've got to achieve. I'm promising right now. So if I don't accomplish and don't achieve, I'm going to be breaking that promise, right?
Mhm.
It's really rough. I really feel for you.
It's hard because I have all these expectations I put on myself.
Mhm.
I'm a high achiever. I have a master's degree. I do all these things just to prove people wrong.
Right.
And it's exhausting. It's freaking exhausting to feel that pressure of having to constantly one up yourself.
Mhm.
It's exhausting.
One of my childhood fascinations was people who climbed Mount Everest, right? And I remember someone who climbed Mount Everest saying, once you climb Mount Everest and you come back down, you get hit with a lot of self-doubt because there's literally nothing else you can achieve. You've climbed the tallest mountain, but you still have this voice inside you that says, whatever you do next has to be even better or even more impressive. And literally that's not possible once you've climbed that mountain. So you have to navigate these uncharted waters.
And if I may add one more thing to this topic, I just got off a freelance call with my coaching school, Dutch Slopes, and
Yeah.
we were talking to the CEO, and he's like, James, you need to slow down. And remember, it's okay to take your time. You don't need to rush through things. It's okay to take your time and to understand the concept. And that relates back to the disability life because I'm always trying to prove myself. But in my current situation, I have to slow down. I have to work through my issues, and I have to just trust that in time things will come to be.
Is that difficult for you?
Very.
Yeah. It's also, I see it kind of in myself and I see it in, my friends and especially within the disability community, where it's difficult to have to play the waiting game and to accept that there's things that you can't control and you just have to wait until things fall into place. I have a hard time accepting that as well.
Yes.
Yes. This brings me to my final question. James, what have you had to also unlearn as a result of being disabled?
You sent me that question last night, and I've struggled with the answer. I'm not gonna lie. It's a hard question. I guess one of the things is trying not to. I'm a perfectionist by nature. I want to live life as independent as I can and do everything I can on my own.
Mhm.
But I've had, and I struggled with this. I've had to teach myself to not be so hard on myself, to not demand so much of myself. And so to say, I struggle with that daily
Mhm.
because I'm always pushing myself, but I have to unlearn trying to be this perfect James and listen to my body, listen to my disability, and act on what my disability is saying. If it's saying, James, you need to take a break, I take a break. If it's saying, James, you can go out and do stuff, then I'll go out and do stuff. But I'm learning to listen to my body and quit with my ego self and listen to my body.
I love it. James, thank you so much, not only for joining me today, but also for making that time for yourself and listening to your body. So I know that we were originally scheduled to meet yesterday, and you told me that you had to rest, and we rescheduled for today. And that's totally fine. In fact, that's even more than fine. I welcome that. James, my life is better because you're in it. And I'm really glad that you're able to take the time for yourself to relax and rest. Ultimately, you are the only person that has to live your life. So your needs come first.
That ego is so hard to say no to.
It is.
Because I'm always like, I need to do this, and this, but my body is telling me otherwise, and it's such a struggle to not want to be what my ego tells me to.
Hmm.
My body is telling me different, and that's such a hard contradiction to deal with.
It can be very difficult to deal with.
Do you experience the same?
So I always experience this sense that I have to push myself, yes. And I think one reason why I struggle with it is that I also know how much my parents had to give up to provide me with a stable life or a high quality of life. And thankfully, they were able to do that for me. And it puts this thought in my head, your family invested in you, your teachers invested in you. So you need to show up and you need to produce and you need to be successful, because if not, you're just a sunken cost, right? So it's also challenging for me to, have grown up during the 1990s and early 2000s to get this sense of, when you're an adult, you have to work really hard, or when you're adult, you have to produce at a high quality and a high level consistently. And then to finally enter the world as an adult, only to hear your colleagues, whether disabled or able-bodied, say, take time for yourself, engage in self-care. That's not something I was trained to do, and that's not something I was prepared to hear. So it's kind of like having the rug pulled out from under me, right? So I definitely sympathize with what you've experienced and what you're telling me.
We can make a whole hour podcast over this one issue because it's so involved, but I won't keep going. But I could if I had to.
It is a multifaceted and complex issue. You're right. We could write an entire book. We could write an entire series about this. James, where can people find you online?
LinkedIn is the best way. LinkedIn.com/in/J-Geiger2. And I'll send you the link to put in the show notes.
Fantastic. Yes, I can put that in our video description to link folks right to your LinkedIn. So James is a very talented front-end developer living in Florida. He is open to work immediately. James, I've loved what you've done with React and other JavaScript programming and frameworks. Your resume is very impressive. And you're in a boot camp right now. We both are. And let me tell you, that is no joke. It takes a lot of work to get through a boot camp. James, thank you so much for sitting down with me. Do you have any final words for our audience out there?
Just don't judge a book by its cover. We are more than what meets the eye. And get to know us. We don't bite. Get to know us. Hire us. Become our friends. We'll teach you stuff that you had no idea.
Absolutely. Hire disabled talent.
And
James, thank you so
support
much.
disabled people.
Yes, support disabled people. We are worth investing. We are worth getting to know. We are a welcoming community.
Mhm.
Fantastic. James Geiger, everyone, my friend and yours,
Thank you, Nika, so much.
of course.